Your knee replacement recovery is not measured by how fast you walk compared to someone else. It's measured by how well you're rebuilding strength, confidence, and function over time. Walking speed helps tell that story, but it does not write the ending. Are you ready to get back to what you love after knee replacement? The Total Knee Success Podcast is your trusted guide with practical tips, evidence-based strategies, and no fluff. It's not personal medical advice, just solid education to help you manage pain, regain mobility, and get back to living the life you love. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Total Knee Success Podcast. I'm Michelle. If you've ever noticed that you're paying more attention to how you walk than you ever did before surgery, then this episode is for you. Many people reach a point after knee replacement where they're doing the work, walking regularly, making deliberate choices about their recovery, showing up consistently, yet their walking still feels slower, more careful, or less natural than they expected by now. That gap between effort and expectation can create frustration, worry, and a lingering sense that something isn't quite adding up. By the end of this episode, you'll move from uncertainty to clarity about what your walking speed actually reflects in recovery, and you'll begin to see it not as a verdict on how well you're doing, but as useful information you can learn from and act on. Walking speed often becomes a focus during recovery, even if you never thought about it before. It's one of the first things people notice about themselves after surgery, and it's one of the easiest comparisons to make. You might compare yourself to how you walked before your knee started hurting. You might compare yourself to other people your age. You might even compare yourself to a neighbor, a spouse, or someone you saw in the physical therapy clinic who seemed to be doing better. When walking feels slow, it's easy to assume something is wrong. But walking speed is not a measure of effort, motivation, or personal resolve. It's not a sign that you've failed, and it's not something you simply push through by forcing yourself to walk more without understanding what's behind it. In healthcare, walking speed is often described as a vital sign. That phrase can sound intimidating to some, but the idea behind it is actually very practical. A vital sign is something that gives us a quick snapshot of how the body is functioning overall. Heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rate, and walking speed all fall into that category because they reflect how multiple systems are working together. When you walk, your brain, nerves, muscles, joints, balance system, and confidence all have to cooperate. Walking speed naturally slows when any one of those systems is still catching up after surgery. That means your pace carries information, not blame. Researchers who study recovery after total knee replacement have looked closely at walking speed because it tracks so well with real-world function. In a 2025 longitudinal systematic review of cohort studies, Orange and colleagues followed people for months to years after knee replacement. They showed that improvements in physical function unfold gradually over time, not all at once. Walking speed was one of the measures that reflected this slow, steady rebuilding process, rather than quick early change. To put some numbers to this, walking speed is usually measured in meters per second. In everyday life, a comfortable walking speed for healthy adults often falls around 1 to 1.2 meters per second. Speeds below about 0.8 meters per second are commonly associated with difficulty keeping up in the community, maybe crossing streets safely or tolerating longer distances. After knee replacement, many people find themselves walking closer to 0.6 to 0.9 meters per second for a period of time. That range is not a failure point. It reflects a system that is still restoring strength, coordination, and confidence. When walking speed drops closer to 0.5 meters per second or below, that usually tells clinicians something more specific. Speeds in this range are often associated with limited endurance, higher effort for basic household walking, and a greater need for support from the environment. This is also a range where assistive devices, such as canes or walkers, are commonly used. Using a device at this stage is not a setback. It's often an appropriate strategy to improve safety, reduce compensatory strain, and allow you to keep moving while strength and control are rebuilt. Assistive devices are actually tools. Now, this is important. Walking speed after surgery does not follow a single path. Dandis and colleagues showed in a 2021 study that there are distinct recovery trajectories in people after total knee replacement, showing that some improve quickly, others more gradually, and some experience plateaus before moving forward again. These patterns are seen in successful recoveries. A slower pace at one moment in time tells you where you are on your own curve, not how far that curve can ultimately rise. One reason walking speed changes so slowly is strength. After knee replacement, the quadriceps muscle, the large muscle in the front of your thigh, loses strength quickly. And this isn't because you did anything wrong. Surgery itself disrupts how that muscle activates. And you can go ahead and check back in episodes 39 and 40 for more information on that. Pain, swelling, and changes inside the joint make it harder for the muscle to fully engage, even when you're trying your best. Research going back decades and reinforced by more recent work shows that quadriceps weakness can persist long after surgery. When the quadriceps isn't producing enough force efficiently, your body naturally chooses a slower, safer pace. Another contributor is balance and confidence. Walking is not just a mechanical task. It's also a decision your nervous system makes about safety. It can be partially conscious, partially a subconscious decision. If your brain is still unsure about your knee, even subtly, it will limit speed. Studies looking at balance recovery after knee replacement show that balance improves over the first 6 months and beyond. But not all balance tests pick up those challenges equally. More sensitive measures show gradual improvement, while simpler tests may miss it altogether. This means you may be improving in ways that don't immediately feel obvious to you. Pain also plays a role, but not always in the way people expect. Pain doesn't have to be severe to influence walking speed. Low-level discomfort, stiffness, or the anticipation of pain can all lead your body to choose a slower pace. And this is not weakness, it's a protective response. Here's where the confusion often sets in. Many people are told, just keep walking, without any context for what walking is supposed to achieve at different stages of recovery. When walking speed stays slow, it's easy to assume you're either not doing enough or doing something wrong. And neither of these conclusions are helpful. Walking speed is best understood as feedback. It tells you how well your system is integrating strength, control, balance, and confidence right now. It doesn't tell you your ceiling. It does not tell you your worth, and it does not tell you that recovery has stalled permanently. As we move toward the practical side of this conversation, I want you to hold on to this idea. Information creates agency. When you understand what your walking speed reflects, you're no longer stuck guessing or worrying. You can start making informed choices about how to support your recovery. Instead of judging it, observe it. Instead of fearing it, get curious about it. When clinicians and researchers track walking speed over time, they see that changes in pace often lag behind improvements in pain and range of motion. You might bend your knee better and have less pain, yet still walk slowly. That mismatch can be frustrating, but it's normal. One of the most important shifts you can make is to stop asking, why am I still slow, and start asking, what is my walking speed showing me about what needs support right now? That question opens the door to clarity and action. For example, if walking speed is limited by strength, especially quadriceps strength, then walking alone may not be enough. Walking is valuable, but it doesn't always challenge the muscle enough to restore force production. In practical terms, this often means adding focused strengthening for the front of the thigh 2 to 3 times per week using loads that feel challenging by the last few reps. Sit-to-stand work from progressively lower surfaces, controlled step-downs, and resisted knee extension exercises are common ways that clinicians target this deficit. When strength improves, walking speed often follows. If balance is a limiting factor, then walking speed may improve as balance confidence improves, even if strength stays the same for a while. Balance is trainable, but it usually requires intentional challenges beyond flat, familiar surfaces. For some people, this might include practicing turns, brief single-leg stance work near a counter, or walking on slightly varied terrain in short, controlled bouts. These small changes help the nervous system feel safer when moving a little faster. If fear or uncertainty is playing a role, understanding what your pace means can reduce that fear. When you stop interpreting slow walking as danger or failure, your nervous system often allows more freedom of movement. There's also an important timing element to consider. Studies that follow people for a year or more after knee replacement show that functional improvements continue well past the early postoperative period. The idea that recovery is over at 3 months or even 6 months is not supported by the evidence. Walking speed in particular can continue to change as strength and coordination catch up to the demands of everyday walking. This is why comparing yourself to someone else's timeline is so unhelpful. Two people can have the same surgery and very different recovery curves based on preoperative strength, activity levels, other health conditions, and the type of rehabilitation they receive. Your walking speed is specific to you. Walking speed is one of the clearest windows into that rebuilding process, but only if you know how to interpret it. Instead of judging it, observe it. Instead of fearing it, get curious about it. And instead of assuming it defines your outcome, remember that it's one snapshot in a longer story. Your knee replacement recovery is not measured by how fast you walk compared to someone else. It's measured by how well you're rebuilding strength, confidence, and function over time. Walking speed helps tell that story, but it does not write the ending. If you're preparing for knee replacement and want a clear, grounded way to use the weeks before surgery to set yourself up for a smoother recovery, my upcoming book, The Total Knee Replacement Game Plan, will walk you through exactly how to do that. It focuses on what to work on, what to avoid, and how to go into surgery informed rather than overwhelmed. It's for educational purposes only. You can click the link in the show notes to get notified when the book is released. In the next episode, we'll build directly on the understanding of gait speed and talk about how to move from awareness to action so you can progress your walking with clarity rather than guesswork. I'm Michelle, and thanks for joining me for the Total Knee Success Podcast. This podcast is for educational purposes only. Discover more at totalkneesuccess.com and be sure to subscribe and share because every step forward takes you closer to living the life you love.